Alright, so if you've watched any of my previous videos, you should have a website that looks something like this. And of course, I'm not able to go over everything in the top, like the subject of web development. And there are entire YouTube channels dedicated to just this topic. But my goal here was hopefully to show you where to get started and what exactly like everything is and what is required so it doesn't seem so mysterious to you, essentially. So for now, let's just consider this website complete and let's figure out how to get it onto the internet. Okay, so first of all, to put a website on the internet, you have to obviously store it somewhere. For example, google.com is the files for it is somehow stored somewhere, and the browser just needs to know how to get to it. And the way that it gets to there is kind of like an address, and it's called an IP address, which uses it to find where it is. But obviously you don't want to type in some random like string of 4 numbers and to find the address. So there's this thing called the domain name system or the DNS. And it is basically a system. It is pretty complicated and I actually don't really understand it. But essentially is that it has a way of entering a name, for example, google.com, and it redirects you to google.com. So to the correct place where the website actually is. So we need to somehow find a way to do that. For my tutorial, I have only shown you how to click, for example, and open the file. So the method I have shown you of opening the website is just by finding the file somewhere and clicking it open. And you will see here it has a file URL. It basically finds a file on your computer. But you might have noticed that I actually don't have one of these for the previous few tutorials. And this is what is called a localhost server. And this is something that you can only access on your own computer, or you can access on your other devices connected to the same network. So how do we put it on the internet so everyone from anywhere can see? There are two ways. So if you want to host it yourself, you have to start a server, probably have a computer that's constantly running, and yeah, that would be pretty complicated. So another way would be just to host it. And hosting it, there are actually a bunch of free places to host these things. For example, GitHub pages. The reason that I chose GitHub is because, first of all, it is a free place to host things, and GitHub is mainly a place for managing your code and collaborating with other people, and it is very important to learn. So, first of all, when you open GitHub, there should be a place where you can sign in. And once you sign in, you can go to your profile and click your repositories. I have a bunch of other stuff that I worked on, but you can just click new here. Some like name, for example, tutorial demo, I don't know, tutorial website, I guess, description, something. You can keep it public or private. If you're private, you can't make a pages sync, and you can't put down the internet. And if you're public, everyone can see your code. So, yeah. Add a README file. You choose, yeah, all of these you don't really need to do, and you can just click create repository. Okay, so it gives you this. Okay, so as I have said, Git and GitHub is mainly a thing for organizing and basically version control, which is basically for saying like a fancy way of saying making backs up of your code and making different like timelines and whatever so people can work together. So first of all, you have to learn something called the command line. And that is essentially if you have to download or if you probably have a terminal emulator. So it's essentially basically kind of like another programming-ish language. So you can say echo hello, and it goes to hello, and it basically you can give it any sort of text command. And you have to have this thing called Git. I have it installed, but you might not have it installed. Okay, I'm not an expert Git installer, but this is a website, and you can see follow your tutorials for your different OSs. But yeah, so just try to install it and there, maybe find some YouTube tutorials on how to do this. But I'll trust that you can. For example, you can download stuff, and yeah, I think you can somehow manage to get it installed. But anyways, if you have it installed, you have to do this. CD is basically a way of changing directory. So like folder, this is currently in your home folder. And if you say CD and the path, well, mine is favorites coding. I have coding tutorials, right? Tutorials. I think website. I don't know what it's called. Website tutorial. Alright, so an ls is to check the contents of this. But anyways, you can say git init. So git init creates basically a new repository, and we're basically just going to follow the code here. Git init, git add readme. We don't need to add the readme for now. Git commit. So commit, it creates a repository, and every time you want to basically make a version of your code, you use commit, and basically that saves a copy-ish. But we have to git add -a to add everything, so we can add all of them now. And so we can say git commit first commit. Alright, that's fine. So we have committed all of those files. And git branch m main. Right, git branch m main. And that basically makes a branch called main and puts you on that main branch, or just makes the branch main the main branch. And now you add a remote origin URL. So and that basically, what that does is basically tells you that this website for putting your code here, that's where you are actually going to put it. And git push u origin main, and that basically pushes whatever code you have on your computer to here. So let's reload and see if this works. Great. Now we have everything here. And now what we can do is go to the part called settings. You go to the settings right here, and if you scroll all the way to the bottom, there is a thing called GitHub Pages. Oh, Pages setting has its own dedicated tab. Check it out here. Great. So now we have to choose the main branch as a branch for, and now if we click save, root save, and it is ready to be published. Great. And if you click here, it should have your website. Okay, so if you see it not working, you just need to wait, I don't know, 1 or 2 minutes, and then it will load. It's just like uploading the files and putting it somewhere like that. But anyways, we have this website here. Yay. Alright, so now let's say if we change something on our actual website, so I don't know, pepperoni pizza, let's say add the word recipe. You can see that it doesn't change here. It will change on your website, but it won't change here because you haven't uploaded it. So what you have to do is that you have to do git add all, where you can just add the file you changed, and git commit, second commit, and git push. You don't actually need to add the origin main. If you just do git push, it automatically pushes to the correct place. Great. So now if you check here, go here and then go to the HTML, you can see that the code actually changed here. And now if you just wait a while after it loads, the correct thing should show here. And also, just to clarify, commits are not for every single save. You can still save your files normally. Commits are just when you make some significant changes, or you just want to add a version kind of, and you can just make a commit, and so you can just push it somewhere. Great. So yeah, GitHub is really, and these things are very useful because if you have commits, I don't know, maybe you actually made an accident, you can still click here and go to the first commit, and you will see that you can see the first commit, it added all of the stuff, and you can see exactly what changed in each commit, and you can also choose to restore it. Okay, so this video isn't really like a Git tutorial, it's mainly how to host your website, but I'll just show you a few things. So let's say if you changed your website on the actual thing, or somebody else changed it here, right? You can actually edit this here. But let's say you change something here. The way you can get it on to sync up on your computer is by saying git pull, and now it will say everything already up to date. But if it's not up to date, it will just basically sync everything up. Alright, so, and also another thing is branches. I said the branches main, and essentially you can have two history or two timelines that diverge. So maybe you want to work on something that's, I don't know, experimental and maybe like very buggy or something. You can put it on another branch, and the main branch will be the branch that your users or some people will actually see. And after you finish, doing whatever you're doing on the other branch and you're happy with the result, you can merge the two branches, and yeah. So that's what you can do. And basically that's all I'm going to show you today, and this is, let's just say this is the end of our tutorial series. But wait, no. But you can see that one thing that you notice is that the website URL is something like this. For example, that's your username.github.io and the slash your repository name, and it's a pretty long, name for something. And if you want an actual good name, so for example, my pizza recipe website.com, right? You had to unfortunately spend a bit of money. And the places you can buy these domain names are called, for example, domain.google.com. I think it's domains, but yeah. For example, domains.google.com, hover, I don't know, that random advertisement you can always, but yeah, let's just say if you do pizza, right? If you do pizza, it will show you all the things you can buy, and it's like $12 a year. It's not like insanely expensive, but yeah, they cost something. Some of them cost thousands of dollars, but some of them don't. I'm not gonna spend money for this video, but I have another website which is actually also hosted on GitHub, and it's this thing right here. And I'm just gonna show you how I essentially got everything to work. So if you have GitHub pages, custom domain, you have to enter domain .net, and also what you need to do is that once you register a domain, you can have something called a CNAME file, which you just create. It's called CNAME, and you just put that there. And on the Google domains here, right, I have a domain called this myname.net, and essentially what you need to do is go to the DNS tab, and it's pretty similar for all different websites, different like hosting domain registration websites. And essentially what you can do is that you register domain.net, and you just do that, and in 1 hour and you create a CNAME file with and point at a thing called basically add your URL to here. And this, it is pretty complicated. You can also watch another few tutorials for this, but essentially that's how I was able to make my own website with that URL without a github.io. So it's possible, and yeah, you can just look around to see how that works. And yep, thanks for watching. If you like this video and you don't mind, clap your hands.